Hey Monica, this is Christian, your instructor. It was great having an interview with you, and after doing some research and possibly looking at some of the things that you wanted to do regarding goals and your physical activity, I finally came up with some plan that we could possibly follow for your workout. So I'm just going to go over some of the things that I came up with, and we can explain in detail. And some of the exercises that I feel would be a little difficult, I'm going to provide a video that will help explain how to properly do a certain exercise or a stretch and the proper form used. So the first exercise that I thought would be really good for you would be a standing hamstring stretch. Um, I think that if you do 3 sets, where you hold each set for 30 seconds, where you don't do any bouncing. The reason why I say not do any bouncing or ballistic stretching is because it increases the possibility of you actually having an injury, so we want to stay away from that. The reason why I chose the standing hamstring stretch was because it increases flexibility in the back muscles, the back and the leg muscles, and also because it's a cool or a warm up, it will actually help with preparing you for the other exercises that are going to come. The next exercise that I came up with was the tricep stretch. The reason why I think that this would be a great exercise is because I noticed you said that you wanted to help work on your flexibility. So this would help your flexibility, and it also would prevent injury. Like I said, also for the standing hamstring, it would prevent injury when you are getting ready to do the other exercises that require a little bit more full body weight. Also for that, I would possibly say doing like 6 sets, 3 for each arm, which is not too bad. And if it's a little bit too much when we first do it, we can definitely lower that number to 4 sets, and we can do 2 on each arm. And as the same thing for the standing hamstring stretch, do not do ballistic stretching. The bouncing will definitely increase the possibility of injury. Also, I would say hold it for 10 to 15 seconds. If that seems too much, we can go down to 10 seconds. The next exercise that I would use as a warm up, just to get your muscles going, the blood flowing, would be a butterfly stretch. The butterfly stretch would also, again, increase flexibility, warm up the muscles in the back and the legs, the lower body, which is very important because that's the center of mass of your body, and if it's very important that you don't injure that muscle. So after doing that, that's about 7 minutes I counted for. So I would probably give you a water break after that just to cool down. You just started doing a warm up, so just to maybe rejuvenate yourself with some water, maybe a snack if you feel that's necessary. After that, I would just start with a walking on the treadmill, or maybe a fast-paced jog. I do it for maybe 5 minutes due to the fact that I don't want you to be overexerted. I would say 5 minutes, maybe at a 2.5 miles per hour on the treadmill, at an incline of 0. Just to keep the blood flowing after doing those exercises to warm up. Next, we're going to start with the actual exercises that I think would be your main ones that you're going to work on. So I know you also said you wanted to focus on your flexibility, but also increase your body image. One thing that I think that is very easy to do that doesn't require a lot is the Russian twist. The Russian twists are a great exercise that help with the abdominal muscles and increase flexibility in the abdominal area and also the back. I would advise that you do 3 sets of 10 reps, and I would say take it slow to the point where it takes about 15 seconds. So you take 15 seconds in between each set just to rejuvenate and make sure you can perform all 3 sets of 10 reps each. You probably don't need much exercise. You don't need much equipment, probably a medicine ball or some weights, and possibly a yoga mat just to make it more comfortable. The next muscle that I would choose, or the next exercise, I would choose, would be the Superman muscle. This is great for the abdominal muscles, and it allows for the individual to increase abdominal muscles, like I said, and also extending the abdominal muscles, which also will hurt with your lower back. I would also advise doing these for 4 sets, and I would say holding it for 10 to 15 seconds. This would really engage the core and would increase your abdominal muscles. So you could also work on your body image. The next one would just require a stationary bike, and it's just going on the bike or the stationary bike for 25 minutes. I would just say go at a moderate pace and sometimes do intervals where you just go full out for a minute as fast as you can and then slowly go down to that moderate slow pace just to keep those muscles engaged but also not stopping, because most of the time if you stop you're more likely to get an injury. Next, actually, in addition to the stationary bike, the one thing that I thought that would be really important for you is it increases your cardiorespiratory endurance. That's also very important because just because you're focusing on running or stationary bike, it can affect a lot of the other things like interval running or interval exercises. Another one that I've noticed that's been become more popular is HIIT training, which is high intensity interval training. But for where we're starting right now, I think that we should stay away from that. But that's just something maybe to look towards if you feel comfortable in the future. The last exercise that I think would be really good for you would be a box jump. A box jump is just going to work on your explosion and your stamina, and also work on your lower leg muscles to use the ground to force yourself up. I would just go with 3 sets of maybe 7 reps. Maybe start at a lower height due to the fact that I'm not sure if you're capable or if you're feeling comfortable of jumping at a height of maybe 24 inches right off the bat. So we're going to start with maybe 6 inches or maybe a 12-inch box jump and then finally go there. Some of the equipment you might need for that is just a set of boxes at right height and maybe just a space that you could use for this exercise. So next I'm going to show you how to perform certain exercises with the correct form.
Stable surface like a curb or a step, and make sure your other leg is pointed straight forwards. Place your hand on your hips and puff your chest so your back is straight.
While performing this exercise, do not bend at the back. Rather, roll your pelvis forward. Push your hip to the rear, increasing the stretch on your hamstrings. You may also feel this in your calf. Perform this exercise for 3 sets of 30 seconds. The hamstring is a group of large muscles that span from the pelvis to the knee. The hamstrings are made of 3 separate muscles. The hamstring muscles bend the knee and move the thigh back. Hamstring injuries are among the most common athletic injuries. Inadequate hamstring flexibility can lead to injuries that take you off your feet for weeks.
Proper hamstring stretching increases flexibility and ultimately decreases the chance of injury during exercise.
Here at Duke Sports Medicine, we recommend you stretch your hamstrings after a proper warm-up and add this to your normal exercise routine.
Bring both legs together. Bring your feet together just like this. You're going to sit down into your hips. Keep your back straight, your shoulders back, core tight, and you're going to drive your knees down into the floor. All right, so you're going to feel the stretch all through the hamstrings and even into the groin area. This is a great stretch. Make sure that you're sitting up tall. You don't want to slouch. You don't want to sit into it. You want to make sure that you're nice and tall and really open them up. Sometimes I even use my arms to kind of push my knees down even more to get even deeper stretch. You're gonna hold it for about 20, 25 seconds, and then release, and then do it again. This is a great stretch to do before doing any kind of leg workout, cardio. Do it before and after your workout. You wanna make sure that this area is nice and stretched, especially the groin area. Very common area to pull a muscle in if you're doing leg workouts or any kind of flexibility workout where you're having a full range of motion with your legs. So that is another great way to stretch the inner thighs, is the butterfly stretch.
All right, while you're on your bench, if you don't have a medicine ball, you can grab your weights. 1 weight, actually. All right, so you're gonna lean back. Again, you can do this with a medicine ball, any type of weighted object. Honestly, a can of frozen orange juice will do. Just need a little bit of weight. You're gonna cross your legs and twist side to side. And that is called the Russian twist. And you can time these. You can do as many as possible for 30 to 60 seconds, or you can just do 50 of them. Whatever is harder. Make sure you feel the burn.
Begin by lying on your stomach. Extend your arms straight out in front of you, and then raise both arms and legs off of the ground approximately 1 foot, and hold for 1 to 2 seconds before returning to the ground. If you experience any neck pain, you may keep your head closer to the ground. Complete 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions. If you are in need of a more challenging exercise, this can be altered by lifting the opposite arm and leg, right arm, left leg, and alternating. Again, if you experience any neck pain or discomfort, you can keep your head and face closer to the ground. Complete 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions.
Metric exercise that's going to work on your coordination as well as your explosiveness when you're jumping. This exercise can be applied to any sport that involves jumping. However, if you've never done it before, don't go right into it on a 24-inch box, okay? Start off on a 12-inch or a 6-inch, or just practice jumping up and down with proper form to ensure that when you do it on a box, you don't hurt yourself. Now, there's some key points you want to keep in mind when doing the box jump. Number 1, you want to make sure that when you're jumping and landing, that your knees don't collapse in. You also want to make sure that when you're jumping and landing, that your back doesn't round over, and when you land, you don't want your feet really spread far apart with your toes pointing out. You want to have a strong stance when you jump and when you land. If you notice your knees collapsing in or that you're landing too far, try starting the jump with your feet together. And lastly, you want to make sure that when you jump, you can use your arms to help the driving force, but you want to make sure that you are extending through your hips and pushing off the tips of your toes to jump as high as you can. Begin the exercise by standing in front of a box or an elevated surface. You can warm up and prepare for the exercise just by swinging your arms and practicing your hip extension. Once you feel ready to start the exercise, you're going to load your hips by dropping them back and keeping a tall spine. You're also going to use your arms to help load your hips by swinging them back as well. From here, explode through your hips as you swing your arms and lift your knees upwards towards your chest while landing on the box. Once you land on the box, you want to step up fully, pause for a second, and then jump back down, landing with your knees out, feet tight, and an upright torso. Always make sure that when you're jumping and landing, that your knees aren't collapsing in. If you do notice your knees collapsing in, try starting the jump with your feet closer together. So there you guys have it. That's how you do a box jump. For more great information,